Hello, my name is Linkowski, and I'm a third-year medical student at the University of South Florida. Today, I have the privilege of presenting Cancer Careers, a ROECSGLearnOncology podcast, increasing accessibility to information about oncology careers on behalf of the undergraduate medical education subgroup of ROECSG. In recent years, medical student applications to U.S. and Canadian residency radiation oncology programs have declined. ROECSG recognized this and formed an undergraduate medical education UGME committee consisting of attending physicians, residents, and medical students from across the globe to further the UGME educational efforts and explore this decline in overall applications. Our group identified specifically a need for outreach activities to increase exposure and ultimately interest in radiation oncology at the med student level. We collaborated with Learn Oncology, which is an online interactive tool to teach oncology skills to learners at all levels. So the UGME subcommittee created a structure for the podcast series to highlight these oncology careers. The podcast will be hosted on Learn Oncology's platform, and together we identified key topics that med students had questions about, like mentoring and networking, the future of the field, and the future of the job market. We informally surveyed medical students, wrote a standardized script, trained interviewers on recording and editing the audio content, and set goals for the future scope of the podcast, which I'll talk about later. Interviewers recently completed training and the initial faculty interviews are in progress. Our goal is to have the edited podcast episodes be less than 20 minutes to keep it nice and short for the medical student attention span. And a spectrum of careers are to be featured. So everything from the wide variety of career possibilities within radiation oncology, interventional radiology, surgical oncology, medical oncology, and physics we're hoping to feature. The goal is to really highlight how broad a career in oncology can be to a medical student. Our first episode dropped on March 11th, and we're collecting podcast analytics as well as survey data on every episode. At the conclusion of every episode, listeners are prompted to complete a short survey found in the show notes. Preliminary data show that our podcast, episode 1, has reached 237 listeners. Other episodes on the Learn Oncology platform have over 900 listens. This is incredibly exciting when thinking about the reach that our podcast already has, as well as the reach that we'll continue to develop as we post more episodes. Podcasts are really a cost-effective teaching method, which gained a lot of popularity with my colleagues in medical school during the COVID-19 pandemic. We hypothesize that our podcast will be a unique way to positively impact undecided medical students facing the challenge of choosing a career path and increasing awareness about the different oncology specialties out there. Additionally, this has the opportunity for mentorship through linking the medical student and resident interviewers with the specialist interviewees. Our upcoming episodes include Dr. Fuller from MD Anderson Cancer Center and Dr. Sim of PGY5 at Moffitt Cancer Center. We plan to disseminate it by starting with the UGME group and moving outward from there at their respective institutions. We'd also like to create a collaboration network of medical students present at the ROECSG 2022 conference and have them share it with their respective interest groups, as well as open a line of communication for future podcast content and episode ideas. We're going to complete these faculty interviews that are in progress by the end of June, continue to collect survey data from listeners, and ultimately assess the effectiveness of the podcast on medical student perceptions of careers in oncology. I'd like to acknowledge the rest of the ROECSG subcommittee as well as Learn Oncology. If you have interest in listening to the first episode, the QR link in the corner of the screen will take you there. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or comments about the project, and if you have someone who you think would be a great interview for future podcast episodes.